What is good, y'all? It's your boy Ace, man. And I'm not gonna lie, we caught a great buy on GBP JPY. In other words, the Great British Pound versus the Japanese Yen, right? Because this is two currencies going against each other, and all you're doing in this market is trying to predict which currency is going to be stronger in that current moment. So, as you guys may know, Forex is very volatile. Clearly, it's volatile with this huge buy up that pushed all the way up for 65 pips. So like I wanted to go ahead and break it down, and I'm going to clear all of this other stuff out just so it's not confusing for anybody else, right? So if we look at this alone, right, with the naked eye, and for everybody that don't know, I like to start off with the higher time frames, right? Because whenever you start off with the higher time frames and work your way down, that helps you get a general understanding on where the market is and where you're at, and that's the most important role in this. You always want to know where you're at in the market, right? So if you look on the higher time frame, the higher time frame is consistently, I'm sorry, making higher highs and higher lows, higher highs and higher lows, right? My bad. There you go. But yeah, higher highs and higher lows, right? Nothing but higher highs and higher lows on the higher time frame. So what does that indicate? That price is currently in a strong uptrend, right? So what we should be looking for off rip is automatically we should be looking for buys, but that does not mean that we're just gonna buy at any given moment. No, we don't do that. You gotta wait for the right moment to buy. So with that being said, we're gonna go ahead and go right back down to the lower time frames, and we're gonna go down to the 1 hour. So, as you can see, we had a break of this entire structure, right? Right up in here. So, I want to draw a fib to my point A to my point B, right? And you can see it. Impulse, correction, continuation to the upside, right? In other words, I like to say impulse, correction, get money, right? So, price retested the negative 27, right up in here, right? So off rip, two things could have happened in it hit when it hit this negative 27.8 level, right? It could have just full on reversed all the way down, and we could start looking for sales, or it can do exactly what it did, trickle down and bounce off of that negative 27.8. And once it smacked it, I was already kind of looking for some resistance off of that to the upside, because like it's just in a strong buy. Like you got to look at the trend. The trend is always going to be your friend, but it's just an extreme buy to the upside. So if you scale all the way down to the 15 minute, which that's the time frame we're currently on, right? I like to draw trend lines on majority of price, right? So we have an impulse, correction, continuation to the upside, get money, right? So once price retested our trend line right here, I knew to wait and see how it reacted off of that trend line. Is it going to push away, or is it going to respect it and it's going to push down to the downside? Right? Off rip, I was already thinking buys instantly just because of how strong this uptrend is. And y'all, look, what I want to say too, like, if you see the market in a strong uptrend and it's not getting better and it's not like wanting to like push down, you got to like take that, like you got to have that tucked in the back of your head, like whenever you're trading and looking for new entries, because it's like the trend is very, very strong right now, and you don't want to get caught, and you know what I'm saying, on the wrong side of you just really don't want to be on the wrong side of the stick. You know what I'm saying? Like, so your best bet is just like to always be aware of the trend. Like that's just always like huge. But I knew price was gonna go all the way up here simply because once we had a break and retest of that trend line, I knew price was gonna immediately push all the way up to the next resistance level, which is all the way at the top of this trend line, right? So I just carried it all the way up to that trend line right there, and I got out like right around in here once I started to see some resistance. And yeah, that's literally how we caught that buy. But you guys let me know if y'all want some more videos, you know what I'm saying, some more breakdowns and stuff like that. And I got y'all.